You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 509 for Sunday the 30th of June 2024.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum, Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. It's a busy week this week, isn't it, love?
It's been News Drop Central, and I was thinking as I was doing our little bit of a intro, maybe for this week's show I would change it up a bit and change it to where nightmares begin, because OMG, what a show, what content we have got, and we are going to try and share the content with our viewpoint, because we ain't no pixie dusters. We will tell you it as it is. We aren't going to sugarcoat it. And yes, some of our views might be a little bit more extreme because we are from the United Kingdom rather than the United States of America. But our pound is just as good as anybody else's in the world. And this week, Disney, hang your head in shame. You have really disappointed your customer base in the United Kingdom, and we're their voice. So.
Yeah, it's been a funny old week, hasn't it? So there's been quite a few announcements of different varying aspects of Disney, and it's all been kind of, I must admit, we've had glorious weather in the UK, and I've been out painting fences. I haven't been able to keep up with it all. And then certain things drop and you go, whoa, I've got to look at that and figure it all out, and you're trying to get your head around information, and then other information drops and you go, oh.
Well, we had the classic Disney drop halfway to Christmas, so you just sat there enjoying a little aperitif, maybe a cup of your finest Earl Grey, while relaxing in the garden in the beautiful sunshine of this past week, and then Disney drops everything Christmassy. And okay, all right, Disney, I'll go with you. You haven't told me much about Halloween yet, but okay, I will have a look at your Christmas offerings. So, yes, that cash cow of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party is coming back in 2024. Well, let's be honest, we knew it would. We knew it's a little license for Disney to print Santa-scented money. And that is one thing that Disney love more than anything.
It would appear to be so at the moment, yes.
So what do you get for your money at this extravaganza up-price event? Well, Minnie's wonderful Christmas time fireworks, 10 p.m. each evening, fantabulous. Mickey's Most Merriest Christmas Celebration stage show, which is performed at 4 times throughout the evening, takes place on Cinderella Castle with Mickey Mouse and his Disney character friends. Can't beat that.
No,
the odd reindeer may show up as well.
Yeah, I love the reindeer.
You can't beat a Disney reindeer.
No.
I'm sorry. It's enough to melt even the stony, darkest hearts of a Disney fan like I've been feeling this week.
And I have to say, the little Instagram where you've got the reindeers that were decorating the park, I thought was very cute.
You've got Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time Parade is back twice a night. Fantastic. You have Santa, Mickey, flying reindeer, toy soldiers. Absolutely fantabulous. Isn't as good as the Disneyland Christmas Parade, I will just say so. But it is a jolly, lovely little old parade to get those Christmas feelings going. And as before, you get your complimentary cookies and hot cocoa. Now, my top tip, as I found out last year, if you go later in the Christmas season, don't expect to see the plethora of cookies that are there at the start, because we were down to 2 different cookies. We managed to scrape 3, but it was basically mainly 2 cookies, so all the others had disappeared. There's some holiday overlays, you know, you've got your Space Mountain, your Tomorrowland Speedway, your Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, the Mad Tea Party Jungle Cruise gets in with the Christmas action. It's all fun. And then if you are one of those that have a little bit of a need for going to Club Tinsel, you can have a jam at the Disney Junior Jingle Jam inside Cosmic Ray Starlight Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Treasure, and there's the Rocket Tower Plaza stage in Tomorrowland. So there's lots to do. There's all of the photo opportunities going on throughout the park. There's some character meets. It is a lot of fun. A lot. I did enjoy it. I will be honest, if I compare the two, would I go Christmas? Would I go Halloween? I think for me, the value at Christmas is not as good as it is at Halloween.
Yeah, I seem to remember you saying that when you got back. And also, is there not a point when some of the activities, fireworks that are within the Mickey's Very Merries are actually just run normally? Is it after the end of their run? So if you are there for Christmas itself, you might be able to get to see them anyway.
And you don't have to pay an extortionate amount, because let's just look at the price.
Here we
This
go.
year will be ranging between $169 to $219 per ticket plus tax. Now,
Ouch.
at the top end of that, last year it was $199 at the top end. So it has gone up $20 for the highest ticket.
You see, these price hikes, they're not little price hikes. You expect, year upon year, because everything goes up in price. We understand that. There's inflation, etc. We know that. But that's not inflation increase, is it?
No, that to me strikes a little bit of greed increase, because to put on this type of event must make an absolute phenomenal amount of money, because otherwise Disney wouldn't do it every single year.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure it's not a cheap thing for them to put on either. Little things, Shell, like, you go along because you went later on in the party season and couldn't get one of each of the cookies. Well, I'm sorry, but, plan better, Disney.
Yeah.
For that. If you're going to offer a service or a food item or whatever it may well be, then you need to make sure that you can do that for the duration of all parties, not just the first few.
And if you're thinking about it, Jen, if you've got, say, 20,000, 30,000 people paying an average of, say, $180 each, that's a lot of money for this type of event. So my math in my head is, if you are interested in going to this event, look at the previous year's YouTube and think, does it look like something that has the value for me and my family? Because there are some experiences at Disney that I feel you cannot put a price on, because regardless of what the price is, it is that magical, that amazing, that us, the paying public, would pay. However, there is a point for me where I meet the kill switch, and I think for me, if I would be looking to do a party at Christmas time again, I think my kill switch would be, my top whack for that party would be round about $120, and that's it. So I ain't going again.
No, and I think, you're right, Michelle, that element of, and we were talking last week about the fact that I've managed to snag that booking on my cruise for Paolo Brunch. And I recognise that the amount we're paying per head is not, you're not just paying for the food, and I appreciate I can have as much food as I want and we're going to make sure we get our bang for the buck. But you're also paying for the experience. You're paying for the level of service. You're paying for your surroundings. You're paying for, and like I say, the word is experience. It's that all-encompassing aspect. And we appreciate that by choosing to go to an after-hours extra event, you are paying an upcharge just to have that experience, but there has to be a ceiling for people. I did Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I hope you're sitting down for this, Michelle. Back in 2004, my memory tells me that we paid $79 an adult.
Wow.
I'm going to say that's why you had to be sitting down for that one.
So,
if
I was a mathematician and I worked out the percentage increase on that, I think a lot of people would find it quite interesting. And not being a mathematician, being a general educator, this feeds into, very swiftly, something else that I found on the old Tinterwebs as I was looking around. And Finance Buzz have done a comparison of Disney World finances on their inflation rate from 2014 to 2024. So I'm going to play a game, Jane. It's called da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Guess the percentage increase. So let's go with this. All we're talking about is the percentage increase. I don't want to know pounds, pence, dollars, cents, francs, euros, whatever. I just want you to guess how much the percent increase was. So let's start with something fairly easy going. A Dole Whip. We all have a Dole Whip on holiday, don't we, ladies and gentlemen? We love it. So basically, it's not an expensive thing to make. What do you think the percentage increase was over the last 10 years?
10 years. Well, I will confess, I do know the article that you're talking about.
I thought you might.
I can't obviously remember all of the figures, but I'm going to guess this is something like 30-odd%.
You see, she's read it and she still doesn't get it right. 58%.
Yeah, you see, I was still being kind to him, wasn't I?
Now, if you bear in mind actual inflation was 32%, that is getting towards almost double the rate of inflation.
Yeah.
So let's think of us good old Brit people.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that is an English tradition, you are brought up on it, it's your bread and butter, it's newspaper, fish and chips, scraps or batter bits as some people might call them, salt, vinegar, maybe curry sauce if you're feeling exotic, or mushy peas if you don't want to be in the room with Michelle. How much would Epcot's finest fish and chips from the takeaway be once it's been percentage increased? What percentage are you looking at, Jane?
Oh, crikey. I'm going to guess it must be somewhere, going by what you've just said about the Dole Whip, I want to say it's something like 65%. It's something ridiculous.
Well, you would have thought that if they were using like a high-end white fish that's particularly expensive and not as sustainable friendly like haddock, like a lot of us Northern England people do like a good piece of haddock, opposed to Southerners tend to have cod. But in the Magic Kingdom and Epcot, wherever you come across your fish, it possibly might be Pangasius and it's a cheaper, more sustainable fish. So their percentage increase was only 50%.
Only 50?
Only. So 18% above actual inflation.
Yeah.
Let's do one more, Jane. And I'm going to go with... Well, I'll tell you what. The highest one was Sanaa's bread service. It had gone from $9.99 to $22, which is an increase of 120%.
Did you hear my sharp intake of breath there?
I know. I can't believe it. The next one down was corn dog nuggets. What do you think the percentage was?
So the bread service was 120% increase.
Yeah.
And this is the next one down from that. And we're just talking corn nuggets.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it's something ridiculous like 80-odd%.
It's 116%.
No. What? Why? How?
I've no idea. The one that really surprised me was this one rising from $4.99 to $10.79, and they're the corn nuggets you can get at Casey's Corner in the Magic Kingdom. But the one that most people associate with a ridiculous price tag, Mickey Bar ice creams, 63%.
Yeah.
It's astonishing.
I mean, we have talked about this over the years, haven't we, when, those new price increases have come in. I think it's just a given now, isn't it, that we hit a point in the year, whether it's end of financial year or whatever it is, where the price increases come in, and it's never a couple of cents, is it? It's always 10, 15, 25 cents. We'll round it up to the next, whatever dollar mark it may well be. And I think it feels very insidious. I think, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's this knock-on effect. And I'm just wondering when it gets to a point where Disney recognise that they're just outpricing people.
Well, we've got a lot more to talk about before we get onto that.
Yeah.
The average they found when they looked at the key things, 61%.
Yeah.
And when you were looking at tickets, it was looking at an average of around about 56%. So a lot of price increases, a lot of maths. If you want to read it yourself, financebuzz.com/Disney-prices-versus-inflation. Have a look, see what you think. So, Jane.
Yes.
We're talking food.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys, I have to get this out there.
I know where she's going with this one.
I, for years, have talked about going to Sleepy Hollow, getting my waffle sandwich with my fresh strawberries, my fresh banana, my fresh blueberries, and smushing it into a sandwich and having it as a shareable. So many of our listeners have said, Michelle, I know chicken and waffles isn't for you, but for us, it is the bee's knees of snack. And people, I tried it once. It wasn't for me, but I tried it.
Yeah,
I tried it. They've changed it, Jane. Bye-bye, waffle sandwiches. Hello, Mickey waffle.
Nice, yeah, like a Mickey waffle.
We all love a good Mickey waffle. And to be quite honest, Jane, I'm going to be quite frank here. For $6.49, you can get a Mickey waffle served with powdered sugar. That, to me, is going to be my purchase because in my backpack, I'm going to take into the park my own jar of Nutella. And I am going to have a bit of a party with my Nutella and my Mickey waffle, because the other things that you can have on top of your waffles not only cost more money, but the quality has gone down. You know, right down Main Street, Paige and Mr. Morrow have all been, I've watched the vlogs, they've had it, I've seen pictures, even WDW News Today have been and reported on this. Go watch their vlogs, they go through it. Differing opinions from them all, but you can purchase the Mickey waffle now with hazelnut spread, which isn't a spread, it's a drizzle. Let's just get that corrected now. And it's with banana. So you don't get the blueberries, you don't get the strawberries, but there is a hack.
Yeah.
For $1, you can buy a side of berries. But what adjective is missing to describe the noun of berries?
Oh, go on then.
Fresh.
Oh.
On the whole, the berries you are getting have been macerated and could have been last year's that somebody canned. Yes, you get a fresh strawberry and maybe a couple of blueberries, but the predominant amount of these fresh side of berries is canned or old or stewed, but not fresh. So you're paying $8.49 for that Mickey waffle. So you're paying $2 for a bit of a drizzle and banana. And then another $1 for your stewed fruit.
That's not good, is
my
it?
hack is the Mickey waffle. Take your own topping. Take your own banana. Smush it up. Job's a good one. Take your own peanut butter. Guys, I want to know how creative you can get by taking your own creations into the park to jazz up your Mickey waffle. We're going to have a competition. Send me pictures. What did you do to your standard $6.49 waffle to make it better? Because I don't advise anybody paying for the berries, cream and whatever. And don't even start me on the chicken tenders. Whoa.
No, it's going to be interesting because I have seen quite a few varying different, websites, vlogs, Instagrammers, whatever, raising their disappointment in this development, shall we say. So Disney in the past have been quite, good to respond when they've taken a food item away and there's been that social media reaction. So I wonder whether anything will happen with regards to this one or not. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I'm with you, Shell. It's take your own sides in, guys. Let's see how creative people can be.
I'm going to speak with Len Tester for some maths on this because basically when you are making a waffle, it's flour, egg, milk and water. It's not expensive.
No.
And there's the staffing, and we all know that Disney cast members who work their heart and soul don't get rewarded financially at the level that they should be.
Should be, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to sort some maths out on that. So, anyway, food carnage over. Let's get the elephant in the room unleashed.
Oh, here we go, guys.
Hold me back, Jane.
Oh, no, you go for it, girl. You go for it.
So, you book your holiday with all what's available.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rug is pulled out of your carpet from your feet because something changes.
Yeah.
And, okay, a lot of guests have reached out to me and said, we've had to cancel our trip because we now no longer will qualify for the Disney Assistance Service because they're focusing purely on neurodivergent children.
Mm-hmm.
So other people who have got quite life-limiting medical conditions, quite serious, recovering from cancer, being physically disabled, having mental health conditions that prohibit them being able to wait in a queue. And we've talked about that.
We have, yes.
But people thought, oh, well, I've got Genie Plus, I can manage with Genie Plus.
Yes.
And if some people wish to spend that extra money, they now have that choice. But again, when I booked my trip, that was not, Disney accessibility system was in the right place then.
Yes.
And then they introduce the Lightning Lane multi-pass option. Let's make it clear. This is what we got for free years ago. It was the Fast Pass system,
Plus.
where you could go online, and this was the step up from the in-park tickets where you ran around like a lunatic and getting the paper tickets. But this was actually pre-holidays. You could pre-select, and it could fit in around your dining, because that's one thing I hate about virtual queues, because if you've got a dining reservation and a virtual queue at the same time, you are limited.
Yeah.
So they brought it out, and on the first initial day, oh, actually, if this is going to be priced, possibly at a $20-ish price, and I can select 3 attractions, so I'm going to Animal Kingdom, I could definitely know I can ride Everest, Flight of Passage, and then possibly, I don't know, a 3rd attraction. I'd be really struggling over at Animal Kingdom, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
But I would have 3 in the bag that I know I'm definitely going to be able to ride, fit it in round some dining. Yeah, I'll happily give $20 because it's not worth the anxiety of thinking, oh, I'm going to get to Animal Kingdom, find the lines 3 hours long, and I'm not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, or having to be up at stupid o'clock in the morning just to get on your phone and start banging away at getting things booked. Yeah.
So then they decide, oh no, we're not going to make it as straightforward as that. We're going to have the tiered approach. So in the Magic Kingdom, here's your top tier. So Magic Kingdom, you've got Big Thunder, Jungle Cruise, Peter Pan, Space Mountain, or Tiana. So you can choose one of those and then any from the other ones that's on the list.
Yeah.
So your Epcot top tier, Frozen Ever After, Remy and Soarin', and then the others. And then at Hollywood Studios, you've got Mickey and Minnie's, Smuggler's Run, Rock and Roller Coaster, Slinky, and then everything else. Interestingly, they didn't include Twilight Zone Tower of Terror in that group. And then Animal Kingdom, as I said before, it's just any of them.
Yes.
Because there's no restriction because it's slightly different. So we started to think, oh yeah, okay, I could possibly do this. I think that would work really well. And then they said you can only make your advance reservations as a Disney Resort guest if you are in the USA. This angered those in Canada because they quoted the term overseas. Please tell me, what sea separates Canada and the United States?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of a sea separating those two countries, so how can they be overseas?
I don't know.
Someone needs a geography lesson.
Someone needs an English lesson.
Yeah. I had a nice little chat with the people at Disney because I didn't quite believe it. I thought, nah, Disney won't do that. Nah.
Yeah.
So I sort of said, yes, that is correct. While these features will be available to guests from other countries, they will be able to begin their pre-arrival planning on the My Disney Experience mobile app after they reach the United States. So literally, you'll have paid the money, and then the minute you're at MCO, you're literally trying to find any availability. So I said to them, but does this mean there will be less availability? Because now I can't book it 7 days in advance. It's going to be at the start of my trip. This was the answer. We currently do not have an answer on to how availability will play out, but have taken into consideration with that policy that we would make sure those guests are getting their full benefit. Because I also asked, does it mean people who can't book 7 days in advance pay less? And that's the answer I got. I then said to them, I am slightly stressing out over this. I don't think it's fair. I think English guests like myself will be very disappointed. And the cast member I spoke to, and I was particularly polite and lovely to him, as I normally am, he said, we will pass such comments on to the team.
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering, guys, that if you do, like Michelle has done, and you end up speaking to a Disney cast member, they are only spouting what the policy is. They will not know the ins and outs and the reasonings why and the technical issues. I think the thing you can do is, like Michelle has done, and I actually passed comment on the Disney Parks Instagram feed, make your feelings known and hope that those comments, those phone calls get passed up the appropriate managerial streams so that those that are making the decisions are aware of what they're doing to their customer base.
Armchair moaning gets nothing. Let's be proactive and let Disney know this isn't acceptable for those guests that are not coming from the United States. Let us go on social media, because what happened when they took away the noodles from Ohana, the noodles got put back.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Now, I know my travel agent has explained all of this to me. That is to do with differencing of laws and this, that and the other. But there's a better way around it, and I expect Disney to find it.
Well, I would have thought, if this is a case to do with international law or whatever, then why was this system not put in place once those law things had been sorted? Why release something that's fine for US residents but isn't fine for everywhere else? I mean, I don't know what the figures are of people visiting the parks, but I would suspect people travelling from Canada is quite a big chunk of your audience. And we know that the UK market is another big chunk, especially as we're approaching now our summer season where all the schools are closed, and we know how the prices go up for us to visit Disney World during those summer months. So that's indicative of the amount of UK travel they're getting. We know that people travelling from Australia is quite high as well. So, these English-speaking parts of the world do bolster their customer base quite nicely. And it does feel a little bit like we'll look after our US residents, but, the rest of you can make do.
Let us know your thoughts. I know I had a little bit of a moan on that old Instagram earlier in the week, and I say let your voice be heard, because
definitely.
Change doesn't happen through silence.
Definitely.
Jane, we have one last thing. I believe you have found something you'd like to share that you've read on their Instagram, and I think it's worthy of sharing with everyone before we put a big old bow on the old podcast.
Yeah, this is, again, it's kind of following on from the whole introducing of this multi-lightning lane and single lightning lane introduction. So a YouTuber that I watch on Mickey Views is Braden. He's very clued in, and he's not for want of a better expression, a Disney shill. He tells it how he sees it. And this is his suggestion. I'm going to read it word for word off his Twitter feed. So if you want to go and find Braden, he's at Sir Braden on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it nowadays. So he said, if I were in charge of Walt Disney World, I'd make skip the line an exotic perk that is rarely used. Nobody in Lightning Lane equals regular line moves lightning fast. Guests would get a great experience just with a base ticket. Nobody needs a master's degree and skip the line in order to have a worthwhile vacation. Guest satisfaction would be higher because guests wouldn't feel like they got extorted. It's smart business too. Higher guest satisfaction means more repeat visits. Even better, families would have more vacation budget to allocate towards food and merch. Finally, older folks with money to burn who aren't smartphone savvy could frequent the parks again. Most importantly, forcing guests to constantly interact with smartphones is not what the parks were designed for. Guests would have more time to immerse themselves in the intricate theming and storytelling around them. Such a cost is easily worthwhile in the medium to long term when the alternative permanently alienates your core customer and will lose Disney billions in future revenue. So his idea is you have that ability to skip the line, but you do like Universal does. You have it at a high end that only a select few are going to have the moolah to spend on it. The rest of us get to experience the parks like we've always done historically. We get to be immersed in the experience. We have extra cash in our hand to go and spend on the Dole Whips and on the merch and the T-shirts and maybe the ADRs that we perhaps are now having to put on the back burner. And like a lot of friends that we've seen comment, who are now not wanting to go to Disney because of the alterations to DAS, not wanting to go because of the fact that we can't book in advance these lightning lanes. You've just lost a big chunk of people, guys. When are you going to get them back? We know that at the moment crowd levels are not what they normally are at this time of year in Walt Disney World. Somebody somewhere is going to have to take a look at the balance sheet and figure out what they need to be doing to get us back in the parks and spending our money. So whether Braden's idea is the right one or not, I don't know, but I kind of like it personally. So yeah, if you're interested, go and check Braden out. He's a good one to watch. You find him on YouTube and you find him over on that ex-Twitter malarkey.
I think the world would be a happier place with those changes. So this week's show I would like to dedicate to the memory of a wonderful woman that sadly passed away earlier in the week. A listener, a friend to very much the Disneyland community that I belonged in. Jennifer Cole sadly lost her battle against cancer earlier in the week, and those who knew her knew of her 14-year-long battle with cancer. She loved going to the parks and having enjoyment. The mixing of like-minded individuals, in my mind, is what makes Disney such a magical, wonderful place. And when we lose someone like her, a little bit of the pixie dust and magic does disappear. So to those of you who knew Jennifer and had bumped into her in the parks, I pass on my condolences to you and to her family as well at this very sad time. Anyway, let's end the show this week as usual. If you want to hear more from us, catch us on Instagram at DisDreamGirls. You can find us on our family page, Disney Dream Girls Podcast Family, over there on Facebook. And if you want to support the show financially and get a little bit of extra magic from us, it's patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.